Hi everybody, welcome to the last week of our class. I am going to use this short video to help you finalize your analytical report. So before I begin going into the content of this short video, please pull up your draft of your report so you can make pages and take notes in it as we talk through this video. Go ahead and pause and get your report pulled up. Now that you have your report pulled up, I want to talk you through this checklist, and this is appearing on this content page. So you'll see that this has been assigned for you for Monday. There's not anything for you to turn in here. Instead, I'd like you to review this content and watch this video by Monday, and then continue to work on your draft and these additional components this week, okay? So this page, Finalizing Your Report, will help you add on the other components that go around the body of your analytical report. So this checklist is one thing that's included on that page, and that's what I want to talk through with you today. So the very top document on your analytical report is going to be your letter of transmittal. So go ahead and clear out a blank page as page 1 in your analytical report and make a note that this is your letter of transmittal. We want to address this letter to an actual person who represents the audience of our report. So if we were talking to legislators, we would find an actual legislator and his or her address that would be a person who might act on the recommendations in our report. If we're talking to student athletes, we would find the name of a student athlete that we know, maybe a cousin or a brother or a colleague here at PCC, and we would write our letter to him or her. I can show you an example of this in this concussions analytical report. This example is available in your research resources page. This person is writing to coaches and trainers of college football players, and so he chose to write to the director of athletics and the head football coach at Fort Lewis. You'll see this letter is actually formatted as a letter, and the great thing that you can do in this letter is to summarize what's in your report, to make it sound exciting and engaging for your audience, and to highlight the components that are important in the report that this audience member might be particularly interested in reading. This is also a great opportunity for you to talk a little bit, if it's relevant, about why you're interested in this topic and what excited you or what made you invest in researching this topic this semester. There's not really any other room for you to do that in your report, so this is a great place to acknowledge why you're interested in this topic and why you researched it for this semester. So page 1, you have it cleared out, you have letter of transmittal written on it, and you might also have jotted down a few ideas of who you might write to. Again, a person that represents the audience of your report. Okay? The next page we'll see, page 2, is your title page. So go ahead and mark that. If you don't have a title page yet, go ahead and clear that out and mark title page there. We want our title page to be in APA format. So if I scroll down here in Jamie's report, here's his APA formatted title page, page number up here, title, name, and institution. Okay, so page 3, title page. Then go ahead page 2 is title page. Go ahead to page 3, and that should be your table of contents. Okay, so we're clearing out page 3. Write a little label on it that says table of contents. This is where you will tell us about the main sections of your report and what pages we can find them on. Most of us have already added headings and subheadings to our reports, and so if you've done that, it's really easy to pull those headings and subheadings up into your table of contents and just mark what page they're on. I would advise waiting to put your page numbers on until the very last second, because you might revise these data sections and then your page numbers will move around. So you'll see in Jamie's report, if I scroll down a little bit, he has these subheadings here, like education, for example, and those are what he has put in his table of contents. Here's regulation. Those are the things that we're adding as part of the visual design of our report. Those are also headings that we can pull up and tell our reader about in our table of contents. Okay? So you have your report pulled up. You have set aside room for your letter of transmittal on page 1, title page on page 2, table of contents on page 3. Okay? Page 4 is your abstract, and part of our content page here that you're reading for today is an explanation of how to write an abstract. I want to remind you that all of the sample reports, including this concussion one that we're looking at together today, All of the sample reports include abstracts that you can use as models to write your own abstract. So clear out page 4, write abstract at the top for me. And the way that you write your abstract, or the way I would write it, is to first write a 1 or 2 sentence summary of every main section of your report. Secondly, to go through and revise those summary sentences to make sure they all fit together and don't repeat and transition from one another nicely. And then lastly, go to this page and make sure you've included all of these components in that abstract. So we should include all 5 of these components here as part of the abstract that we've written after we've summarized the main sections of our report. Okay? Keeping moving here, so we have page 1 letter, page 2 title page, page 3 table of contents, page 4 abstract, and then finally on page 5, the body of your report begins. Okay, so if I scroll down here in this example from Jamie, I'll see that his introduction for his analytical report begins on page 5. Okay, if I go back to my checklist here, I see that I can also include a glossary and appendices if I want to. Those are optional, and many folks don't include those. A glossary is to define key terms if you find that they're clogging up the text of your report and you're talking to a pretty novice audience. Again, most people don't include that. Appendices, also most people don't include, but you might have extra information that won't fit in the text of your report, like the full text of a policy, maybe additional data, maybe a big map. Those types of things might go in your appendix, and then you can just reference those in the text of your report. Finally, the last component is your references list. Many of you have asked about references, whether they need to have annotations or not, and they don't. The references list is just the complete list of all the sources in your paper, just formatted in APA format with no additional annotations there. Okay? So as you're finishing up your report this week, the important parts that you're adding are the parts for this checklist that I've included here and that you just made space for in your report. The other part that a lot of us are finalizing coming out of our conferences together are our recommendations section. And I would encourage you, part of this page here that you're reviewing today is a reminder about how to write a strong conclusion and recommendation section. Remember that your reader really needs to be able to pick up your report and act on it based on the information you have here. So go back to the Research Resources page over here in our content and just pull up a few of your classmates' sample analytical reports here. These are all samples sitting here. Pull them up and see how specific those folks are in their recommendation sections and use those as a model for how you might write yours. Your reader might need resources such as websites, sample diet plans, sample workout plans, addresses of people to write to for policy changes, samples of policies they might implement themselves if you're writing to those policymakers. Your recommendation section is really the culmination of your report, and it needs to be detailed enough for your audience to act on your recommendations. Okay, so we see recommendations here in our concussions example, giving specific helmets that those colleges need to buy, and the prices for those helmets are included earlier in the report here. We can also look at a really detailed recommendation section here in this ultra running example. She has provided a really long recommendation section because she told female athletes how to train for an ultra marathon. So this training plan is actually her recommendation section, and it stretches over 5 or 6 pages because she included a training plan, she included a diet plan. All of those are things that make it likely that her reader can actually act on and implement these recommendations as part of this report. So that's what we're shooting for here. Let me know if you have questions this week. I'd be happy to chat. Look at your recommendation section with you. Get on WebEx and conference about a revised draft. Just let me know what you need help with.